Thomas!
For God's sake! What makes you scream like that in the middle of the night?
It's the bakery! It's on fire!
Sunday, September 2nd, 1666, London. In a late-night hour, a tiny spark ignited in a humble bakery on Pudding Lane, nestled in the heart of London. No one could imagine that one innocent flicker would unleash a force of destruction that would change the city's destiny forever. Welcome to Economic Rhapsody, the channel that discovers history to understand the future. And today, I invite you to a journey back in time of more than 300 years to explore the remarkable economic consequences of the Great Fire of London. So please subscribe to the channel to support us, and let's get started. London in the 17th century was a thriving city, the largest and most important in England. It served as a major center for trade and commerce, attracting merchants, craftsmen, and adventurers from across the globe. The city's bustling port facilitated the import and export of goods, and its financial sector was growing, supporting trade and business growth. With diverse manufacturing industries like textiles, metalworking, and shipbuilding, London's economic output was substantial. The population was rapidly growing, fueled by urban migration and the influx of people seeking economic opportunities. By the 1660s, London's population had reached around 500,000, making it one of the largest cities in Europe at the time. London's economic strength and prominence were unparalleled in England, thanks in part to its status as the capital of the expanding British Empire. However, on the night of September 2nd, 1666, the city would face a catastrophic event that would leave an indelible mark on its history. The Great Fire of London began with a small spark in the bakery of Thomas Fariner, who was ironically the baker of King Charles II. The densely packed timber-framed buildings, narrow streets, and strong winds created the perfect conditions for the fire to rapidly spread. The city's layout played a significant role in the fire's escalation. The tightly packed flammable buildings and narrow streets slowed the movement of firefighting equipment, while the gusting winds fanned the flames and carried burning embers across rooftops. As the fire spread, it consumed homes, warehouses, and churches, including the iconic St. Paul's Cathedral. London's residents watched in despair as their livelihoods and possessions turned to ashes. The city's fire brigades were poorly equipped and overwhelmed, and desperate attempts to create fire breaks by demolishing buildings failed to halt the fire advance. By the morning of September 3rd, the Great Fire of London had transformed the cityscape into a charred, desolate landscape. The fire continued to burn for days, leaving a lasting impact on London's history and its economic future. As the fire continued its destructive path, its economic impact became increasingly evident. London's once bustling markets, brimming with goods from around the world, were reduced to ashes. Warehouses that housed valuable textiles, spices, and commodities met the same fate. And you know, when supply goes down, prices go up. The cost of living in London became an impossible challenge for ordinary individuals, dealing a severe blow to the city's economy. Some estimations say that the devastation left up to 70% of homes and businesses in ruins, plunging London's residents into dire economic circumstances. The soaring demand for temporary accommodations sent prices skyrocketing, making it incredibly difficult for people to find affordable housing. Absurdly high rent prices became the norm, leaving many without even basic shelter. Countless individuals were left homeless, resorting to temporary tents in the city or even fleeing London altogether. The cost of living reached extreme heights, burdening those who had lost everything in the fire. The economic situation quickly transformed into a full-blown catastrophe. The estimated damage at the time was around £10 million, equivalent to roughly $1.4 billion in today's currency, after adjusting for inflation. I wanted you to understand how dramatic the fire's damage was, so I checked the annual budget in 30 African countries in 2021. Around half of the countries that I sampled had an annual budget lower than $1.4 billion. Not cities, countries. Can you imagine such huge damage? And moreover, despite the horrible financial situation, a controversial ruling from the court further worsened the economic situation of Londoners. In many cases, the court decreed that tenants were still obligated to pay rent to their landlords, even if their homes had turned to ashes.
Isn't it enough that they failed to maintain our houses and prevent the fire, and now they refuse to pay? How do they expect me to fund my travels across oceans? Shame! Shame!
You make a valid point, sir. I rule that renters must continue to honor their rental agreements. The law applies to all.
But it's unjust. We lost everything. We have no money and no roof over our heads, and yet you rule us to pay for ashes? Is this a court of law or a denial of basic human rights?
Dear Mr. Renter, we are in the 17th century. Such concepts as human rights have no place here. Now stop crying and pay your debts.
Such decisions, though legally binding, further intensified the financial hardships faced by those who had lost everything in the fire. The Great Fire of London had a profound impact on the insurance industry, shaping it into what we know today. House insurance emerged as a pivotal response to the disaster, altering perceptions of risk and emphasizing the financial implications of unforeseen events. This led to the establishment of insurance companies and refined contracts for effective risk management and protection. Simultaneously, new regulations were implemented to prevent future fires, including stricter construction standards, wider streets, and improved fire safety measures, which made London dramatically its urban structure, a thing that, with the following centuries, made it how it looks today. While these insurances and regulations were a testament to the enduring legacy of the fire, they also placed a significant financial burden on residents and property owners paying high insurance fees and rebuilding under these new standards. London faced the monumental task of rebuilding and recovering from the disaster. Efforts to reconstruct London were met with numerous challenges, but the resilience and determination of city officials and architects were so strong and allowed the astonished rebuilding process. Sir Christopher Wren was an architect who would leave an indelible mark on the city's skyline. Tasked with redesigning and reconstructing many of London's landmarks, Wren's vision and expertise would shape the city's future. Wren, a man of incredible talent and ambition, took the opportunity presented by the fire to create a new London, a city that would rise from the ashes with a new sense of grandeur and beauty. His designs incorporated innovative architectural elements that embraced the use of brick and stone, departing from the traditional timber-framed structures that had contributed to the fire's rapid spread. One of Wren's most iconic projects was the rebuilding of St. Paul's Cathedral. Wren envisioned a magnificent cathedral that would stand as a symbol of London's resilience and the city's renewed spirit. With its iconic dome and elaborate interior, St. Paul's Cathedral became a testament to Wren's architectural genius and remains an enduring symbol of London to this day. Those of you who visited London, I invite you to comment with your impression of the cathedral, and I'm also curious to know if you heard about Sir Christopher Wren before. The rebuilding efforts also brought about significant improvements in fire safety measures. London's new buildings were constructed with fire-resistant materials, such as brick and stone, reducing the risk of future devastating fires. Wider streets allowed for better access to firefighting equipment, and regulations were put in place to enforce fire prevention measures, such as regular chimney inspections and restrictions on the use of thatched roofs. The transformation of London's urban landscape was a testament to the resilience and vision of those involved in the rebuilding efforts. The city emerged from the ashes with a new identity, combining architectural beauty with practical considerations for safety and functionality. As the reconstruction progressed, the demand for construction materials and skilled labor dramatically soared. This presented economic opportunities for many, as industries related to construction, such as brickmaking and carpentry, flourished. The rebuilding process stimulated economic growth, providing employment and injecting much-needed capital into the city's economy. The financial burden of the rebuilding efforts, however, was significant. Reconstructing a city on such a scale required substantial funding, and the costs were borne by property owners and residents. High insurance fees and the expense of complying with new building regulations placed a heavy financial burden on individuals and businesses alike. Despite the challenges and financial strain, the rebuilding of London after the Great Fire was a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. The city that emerged from the ashes was not only physically transformed, but also carried with it a spirit of renewal and a commitment to ensuring the safety and prosperity of its inhabitants. The efforts of Sir Christopher Wren and others involved in the reconstruction created a legacy that is still evident in the London we know today. The city's wide streets, architectural landmarks, and improved fire safety measures stand as a testament to the enduring impact of the Great Fire and the remarkable rebuilding efforts that followed. As we reflect on the rebuilding of London after the Great Fire, we are reminded of the city's ability to overcome adversity, adapt to change, and emerge stronger than ever. The legacy of the Great Fire of London and its economic consequences serve as a reminder of the resilience and determination that can shape the future of a city and its people. And if I have viewers in Ukraine, I hope this fantastic success story of humans coming back from ashes will be a shot of motivation for you. Eventually, after the war ends, and with hard work and a strong spirit, you will rebuild your country into a better version of itself. Just like our fellow Londoners 350 years ago. The economic transformation of London following the Great Fire extended beyond the rebuilding efforts. The city experienced a resurgence in trade and commerce as it regained its prominence on the international stage. With the reconstruction of buildings and infrastructure, new opportunities arose for businesses and entrepreneurs. The increased demand for construction materials, such as bricks and stone, led to a thriving brickmaking industry. Brick factories sprouted up across the city, employing skilled workers and providing a valuable source of income. The rebuilding process also necessitated the production of large quantities of glass for windows, which led to the expansion of the glassmaking industry. Skilled glassmakers were in high demand, and their craftsmanship contributed to the aesthetic beauty of the reconstructed buildings. In less than 20 years, a very short period of time considering the era and in historical terms, London's reputation as a center for trade and commerce was revitalized as the city regained its economic strength. Merchants and traders flocked to the city, eager to take advantage of the opportunities presented by the rebuilding efforts. The revival of markets and the reopening of businesses breathed new life into London's economy. The wider streets and improved infrastructure facilitated the movement of goods and people, making it easier for trade to flourish. The city once again became a bustling hub of activity, attracting merchants from around the world and fostering a vibrant commercial environment. The economic transformation of London was not without its challenges, however. The financial burden placed on property owners and residents in the aftermath of the fire meant that many faced significant debts and struggled to rebuild their lives. High taxes and insurance fees strained the city's economy and impacted the livelihoods of its residents. Despite these challenges, London emerged from the ashes with a renewed sense of resilience and determination. The city's economic transformation was a testament to the indomitable spirit of its people and their ability to adapt to adversity. The Great Fire of London and its economic consequences serve as a reminder of the transformative power of resilience and perseverance. It stands as a testament to London's ability to overcome adversity and rebuild itself into a stronger and more prosperous city. Thank you for watching. You have no idea how grateful I am for each one of you, dedicating time to give life to my work. Important to mention that evidence about what really happened following the Great Fire is limited, and as a result, estimations regarding the economic consequences may not be fully accurate. I hope you absorbed some inspiration from that wonderful comeback story. If you liked it, tell your friends, and if not, tell me. I invite you to follow us on social media, subscribe to the channel, share, like, and mostly comment with your thoughts, ideas, fact corrections, and economic events from history that you'd like me to explore together with you. Economic Rhapsody. Talk to you soon.